We're back, this time very much so focused. Epic gameplay here in the all bosses randomizer preset. Our goal is to kill all of the bosses and do so as quickly as we possibly can, alongside a couple of changes to the randomizer logic. So now the Vlad relics aren't required to beat the game, it's just kill every boss. The way that it works is essentially, once we have holy glasses and kill every boss, we can just go beat the game. So ideally, these types of randomizers should be on the shorter side. However, the logic that gets us there is designed in such a way that it actually is going to take us a while to get our form of flight and stuff like that. We have to do some out of logic, what would normally be out of logic for other randomizers, but is in logic for this randomizer, skips and stuff like that. So it's like a combination of doing some speedrun skips until we find everything we need to go beat all the bosses and then beat the game. We tried this very recently. You might have seen the video if you're watching on Dragon Blitz Daily. I do be uploading daily. Subscribe for more, huh? Like the video, comment. It's free and it helps me out. I would appreciate it. Or if you're just watching the live stream, you're just watching these because I'm recording them back to back on the live stream, twitch.tv/DragonBlitz. Click the follow button. But yeah, long story short, I'm going to try and focus in on really optimizing this speedrun if I can. Oh yeah, we have the random start as well here. So we might get an out of logic relic right now. This could be big. This could be big. And it's nothing. Okay, we move on. I think... Ooh. We do Spirit Orb. I feel like there's no reason not to do Spirit Orb right now. So.
Tribute.
What was that? Abaddon, Dan, Abaddon, Dimsdale, Dimmadome with the 4 months? Sorry, my brain doesn't want to comprehend the English language right now. I'm having a very bad bout of dyslexia, so that's the best I got. That was a familiar card? Yikes. Should have skipped. Smiley face. So we're not skipping out on any bosses yet. We're going to have to kill Minotaur and Werewolf. We're going to have to kill Slogger and Gaibon at some point, but I appreciate you not letting your Bezos bucks go to waste. That is correct if you have the Amazon Prime account already set up with your Twitch account. Abaddon Onion. Oh, actually, when I see the space in there, now I can read it. That makes sense. Abaddon Onion. Got you. Yeah, using your Prime sub, no extra cost to you. Jeff Bezos gets taxed out of his pocket directly. It makes his weird hormone-ridden body less full of testosterone replacement therapy. So every time you use your Prime sub on a streamer, he does get a little bit weaker. It's true. And we do need to weaken him, unfortunately. Because if he gets too powerful, we all know what will happen. Oh, I forget they're immune to the darkness. Why are these plants immune to dark, by the way?
Oh, he's coming. Oh, Lord, he's coming. He's coming. What do I do?
Doesn't make any sense.
Help!
We are using the, what, Mormagil, right? The Dark Blade. So, and you were never, thank you for the Prime as well. Just like that, Jeff Bezos, his testosterone count is lowering as we speak. He can't afford his therapy. Nerf Bezos. Plants ought to be weak to darkness since they need sunlight. That's what I'm saying, bro. We've all played Plants vs. Zombies. You need to put the sunflowers to get the whole thing will be out of whack if you don't. Oh, God. The fart reverb is so bassy. Thank you, Dash. Much appreciated. Silver Crown. Don't miss the jump, or else you're bad. Ah! I missed the jump. His cape was better than mine. Well, yeah, now he's dead, so can't have a nice cape if you're dead. Boss tracker PNG, hold on. Remind me to take a look at that when we have some downtime, Weecock. Because a boss tracker does sound like it could be pretty nice for this preset. We need the thrust sword. That is progression. So that is one of the things about this randomizer logic is people have asked for a very long time, all the time, why is there a claymore on the relic tracker? Well, it's because thrust swords have the ability to give us access to a dive kick, which is really important, as well as move us horizontally in the air. So we can make certain jumps that we wouldn't be able to otherwise with thrust swords. And in this all bosses randomizer, it is in logic. So it'll be implemented at some point. Oh, hell yeah. Nice. I should be able to loot Doppel's cake. Cape, not cake, sorry. So true. Actually, we should get the cake too. Fuck it. Like, imagine you're facing off against your real-life doppelganger, but their ass is just caked up and yours isn't. That'd be intimidating as fuck. I'll grab it because curse immunity can be, at the very least, nice. But as we discussed earlier, Vlad relics don't actually matter for this preset, so we don't have to go out of our way for them. Ah! Well, we'll grab it on the way out. That's fine.
I'm interested.
I don't have a gem?
I'm interested in.
Gas cloud. Get gassy with it.
I'm coming.
Thank you, the prob 940. Appreciate the sub. Iron Shield is nice to have, don't get me wrong.
Farewell.
We got no cash. We're broke as hell. I hate to see it. At least the prime subbers are rising up to fight off against the evil Jeff Bezos. Son of a bitch. Yeah, this skip is very annoying and very random. I'm just gonna try again. This is in logic, unfortunately. If I remember correctly, I think there's like a way to do it this way that makes it a little bit easier. Nope, just kidding. I know there are strats for this. Fuck you, you stupid books. There we go. Jesus. Annoying. Whoa. Harwolf could be useful. Cool trick, yeah. Yeah, that skip might need to go. That being in logic is pretty rough, I'm not gonna lie. The only issue is if it's not in logic, people are still gonna do it because it is a relic check that you can do early. So, I don't know. Remember, kids' books are your enemy? It's very true. I've been hearing this for a very long time. Children shouldn't be allowed to read books, especially because they give children ideas. As a society, we are better off not instilling children with ideas. Because that's communism, I think. You know who sells the books? Jeff Bezos? Holy shit. You're telling me this goes all the way to the bottom? Or to the top, I mean? Well, Jeff Bezos could be a bottom. I don't know. I don't want to assume. Jump. Nice. And a jump. Nice. You're getting topical again. Is that topical? I feel like the discussion... Like, that discussion has been hashed for decades at this point. Depending on the communities that you're a part of. Maybe not specifically that of Jeff Bezos being a bottom, but still. Ah! Oh! How do I say that? Biskia Tarot TV? Welcome, welcome. Yeah, if you're using the vids to fall asleep to, you're doing it right. I try not to be as, I try to keep the volume to a dull roar. For that reason. I know people fall asleep to these videos. Yo, Slabbington, that's huge. Bookception, indeed. Now, the real thing is, can you load up the stream on, like, a Kindle or, like, an ebook? So that way you're using a book in the library to watch me in the long library talking about books. And there's gravity boots. Okay. Ah! Dude, platforming is the hardest part of this video game, I swear to God. I jailbroke my Kindle yesterday. Apparently you can play Game Boy on it. Yo! Nice. No, I get it. I get it, Bisco. I fall asleep to YouTube videos all the time. There are certain creators that are in the rotation of the Sleepy Time playlist. It is to be expected. I take no offense to it. I think this is maybe faster. Just gotta fist them a little bit. What's a little fisting between bosses, you know? So now that we have gravity boots, I'm wondering if we should open the shortcut, actually. In fact, I will. This is kind of like bad routing because I'm stupid, but I'm going to do it. I should have done this already. Because we're going to come back here anyways to do holy glasses. So having that warp or that shortcut open could be very big for us. I use a Kindle tablet as a stream deck, which controls my soundboard. That's really cool. Whoa! How many Americans think they would win in a 1v1 fist off with a bull? Well, bulls can't fist. They have hooves. I think the idea of a fist requires individualized digits and not just a hoof, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm being closed-minded about the idea of what a fist could or could not be. Take that! Most Americans probably assume bulls have fists. Well, I mean, what do we mean by most Americans? I think they would only believe that if their glorious leader, Hail B, said so, and said everybody knows that this is to be true, this is real. I think I have to check castle entrance. It is in logic. Thrust sword plus gravity boots, unfortunately, is a very annoying form of flight, but it is flight. Everybody knows all the best bulls, they have fists. Oh shit, what if I kill Slogger and Gaibon at castle entrance? Does that count? Smiley face? Surely that counts. As killing them as a boss. Spoilers, it doesn't count. Dude, I hate castle entrance with all the fucking zombie spawns, man. We just need to take all the zombies and get rid of them. Technically, they run away before they can be killed. Well, when you put it like that. I'm not grabbing that. This is why we save split. That logic would have interesting implications for cross-mod as well. Yeah, the game keeps track of the bosses in a separate way, unfortunately, but is this enemy rando as well. So Symphony of the Night doesn't have access to an enemy randomizer as of right now. The technical requirements of getting an enemy randomizer working for SotN is particularly tricky because of the way that the game handles the enemies and how they're loaded into memory. Like, they're tied to these chunks of like graphical memory, essentially. So for example, this like skeleton soldier cannot be spawned in to a different area, a different zone, because the data for that skeleton soldier does not exist in that zone. So the only way that it would have to work is basically by rewriting the entirety of the code of the game, which is technically possible, but will take, you know, who knows, decades maybe? Maybe, because we've already been doing the decomp project for, and I say we, but I'm not actually a part of it, outside of just, you know, being moral support. But the project's been worked on for like almost 5 years now, so who knows how much longer it'll take. There's been a lot of gains in that time, don't get me wrong. A lot of really cool stuff has happened in that time, but... No, that's not what I'm saying, and I'm not smart enough to succinctly state it properly. It's not that they are background data. It is that the way that the game is loaded determines whether or not an enemy can spawn. So long story short, the data for enemies exists within zones and not within just like a general thing that you can pull at any time. Fuck, man. We don't have Jewel of Open, so... We have to go back to Outer Wall, probably. Shit. I'm gonna go this way, actually. Yeah, that's basically it. You can think of it as like the data is tied to being in a specific folder, and we can't just pull the data out of the folder and put it somewhere else, because like the game can't interpret that data properly unless it's within the context of its folder. So spaghetti code, yes. Symphony of the Night was made with spaghetti code on purpose because the game was just meant to be ship it. Who cares again? Who cares? Just ship it. We'll fix it later. In fact, we don't need to fix it later because we're not making like a sequel or anything. Just ship it. The mindset was ship the game. If it works, it works. Fuck it. Whatever. You know what I mean? Whereas other games in the series were designed with like future games in mind, where it's like, okay, we can reuse this code going into the next game, so let's make it a little bit more malleable. To work with. It's the Link's Awakening of PlayStation. Well, Link's Awakening is far more customizable than SotN is currently. At least to my knowledge it is. Maybe, I don't know. Either way. Yeah, so people do forget that SotN was a side project. It's because nowadays we realize that SotN is the better game than like a lot of their, like the 3D Castlevanias. So people are just like, yeah, of course SotN is like, you know, what do you mean they didn't prioritize Symphony of the Night? It's the best game they've ever made or whatever. When in reality, it's like, what do you mean this game's not in 3 dimensions? I'm going to give you $2 for budget. And this better be finished in 1 year. The future is 3D, you see? So they didn't have time to, you know, make it as good as it could have been. It honestly is a beautiful accident that this game is as good as it is. Not even accident, more so just like the people who worked on it were very passionate, clearly, about the game and created something very special while also, you know, blindly stumbling onto ways to make the game fun and interesting alongside actual dedication and skill and stuff like that. It's like a combination of a lot of things. I miss 2D games like this. Yeah. If you're a fan of 2D Metroidvanias, the indie scene is now your best friend. And even then, indie games, the quality is very hit or miss, unfortunately. There's plenty of good ones, but they're harder to find, and they are kind of like, Not as fleshed out as you would like because of the amount of resources and stuff given to indie developers in general. Like, solo indie devs don't have, like, infinite time and energy to just, like, make the game of their dreams or whatever. Most of the time, there's a lot of compromises that have to go on. Metroidvanias are really thriving? I would argue no. They're not really thriving so much as the copium of Silksong is keeping us alive. Don't worry, guys. 2025, they said so. Nintendo said so. The company that doesn't own the company that makes Silksong, that's still Microsoft. Microsoft still owns Silksong, by the way. So why the fuck would Nintendo have exclusive rights to understanding when the fucking game is going to launch? Think about it, people. Anyways. Just 2 more weeks, guys. And then we'll get Silksong. Surely it's a launch title for the Switch 2. Or whatever. Anyways. But in reality, I think the Metroidvania genre, there are a lot of great choices. You just have to go to indie games to get them. And like I said, they're very far and few between, in my opinion. We killed Crossamon. We need to go to Outer Wall again and do the library stuff now, I think. Maybe. That's kind of like the only thing that... Or Allrocks. Those are the only 2 things that make sense right now. Allrocks is kind of risky, but it is more checks. I'm going to do it. Type 1 to delay Silksong. Look, you don't need to type anything to delay Silksong. It's going to happen. Maybe I've just been burned too many times, and it's just easier to cope on the idea that it's never coming out instead of it's going to come out, but like super delayed or whatever. There's a Microsoft conference in June. It's possible. I mean, Nintendo was able to strong-arm the Silksong devs into at least doing something for the Switch 2 Direct. I'm still a firm believer that they essentially were like, you need to give us some amount of information to put in this Direct, or else we're just not letting you ship the game on our platform or something. Because Nintendo is very well aware that the discourse around Silksong has a very loud effect on every gaming announcement. It's to the point where even like the fucking Game Awards, which is much larger than fucking... It's a very large thing, right? It's a very large award show with many viewers or whatever. Even they have to fucking bow down to the Silksong brigade. Silksong is the Half-Life 3 of Metroidvania, so true. I thought this was supposed to be a Mega Man X4 speedrun. Maybe one day it will be. X4 is a fantastic game. Disney roasted the Game Awards. Who gives a shit about Disney? What the fuck they know about video games? They've made like what? 2 good ones ever? And it's like Lion King for the SNES. Kappa. I already have the other shortcut, so I don't need this shortcut open. So this is unfortunate because we kind of got punished by going this direction, but we did get Bat early, which is not bad. So we're just needing Jewel of Open, I think, and then we can go do stuff. And I think Jewel of Open is at the Soul of Bat location. So as soon as we do that, we can go clean up and go to Second Castle, beat all the bosses. Dude, fuck X4? Why? What's wrong with X4? What? Was it just that the game's difficult or whatever? Skill issue? Ah. Understood. That's fair. The game is hard. Back to the library. Get your books out, everybody. Yes, all of the good Disney games were Capcom made back in the day. Capcom had like a weird relationship with Disney for some reason. I don't know why that is, but... So this should be Jewel of Open. I think it has to be. Right? Yeah. So now we go to the caverns, we get gold ring, we grab silver ring. We go second castle. We have to kill Granfloon as well. And Scylla. We just killed Lesser Demon. Have we killed Hippogriff? We have not. So we need to kill Hippogriff after doing Silver Ring. Maybe we can do it on the way. Go from Castle Keep. I think that's the correct route. Okay, so now we're going to the caverns. We're doing all the caverns bosses and grabbing Gold Ring. And then we're doing Silver Ring while killing Hippogriff. And then we're going to just win, right? We don't have to do Doppelganger. Even though, well, we already did Doppelganger, but we wouldn't have to do him otherwise. We did Karasamon. We did Slugger Gaibon. We did Minotaur Werewolf. So yeah, I think we're chilling. What's the lore behind Joel? It's just I actually tried to look it up one day. I think it's just an emote that showed up one day in somebody's Twitch chat, and people have just been spamming it because it's a spinning fish and it's funny. That's like the honest to God answer. I don't think there is a real answer other than it's just kind of a funny spinning fish. And much like all memes in human history, people will continue to escalate and add on to the joke over time. Such now that we have all of these, you know, separate Joels. Is Castlevania 64 as bad as I have heard? It depends on how bad it has been you've heard. Like, is the game literally Hitler? No. Does the game control like ass and has pretty questionable platforming and puzzle elements? Yes, for sure. But if you're a fan of Castlevania, I think it is worth playing those games. At the very least, just to get perspective on them. I've been considering going back and replaying Castlevania 64. So I think CV64 is on par with something like Tomb Raider, gameplay-wise. Controls-wise, sure. But I also think Tomb Raider controls like ass. So I think I'm pretty consistent in that view. Gameplay-wise, Tomb Raider is a very different type of game. Maybe actually they are kind of similar in a way. Maybe you're actually correct, and I'm the weak soy jack, and you're the epic Giga Chad in this scenario. It's very possible. Who's to say? Let's kill all the bosses. That's all we have to worry about here. Whoa. A swing smash. Guy who is bad at wing smashing. What up? How's it going, Crow? I'll grab it. It's, you know, higher intelligence. Smiley face. My intelligence is so bigly intelligent right now. I wish it figured out after 3D games to not suck. Well, that's the thing, is it did. It came out pretty late in the N64 lifespan. They could have figured out how to make 3D games not suck. It's just that they were not the team to do it. There were plenty of 3D games that didn't suck that came out in the era. You know? It's just that the Castlevania team was not it, unfortunately. Any 3D game that came out post Mario 64 does not have like a lot of wiggle room in my opinion. If it has bad controls. Bad camera? Sure. We didn't figure out cameras until like the Xbox 360 era. I'll grab it. Boners, you can rise up this one time. Let's kill Grand Falloon. And then we're out of here. Video games universally sucked until RE4? No. No, there were plenty of fantastic 3D games that existed before then. The existence of, like, Ratchet & Clank and Jak and Daxter, like, those games are genuinely still good to this day. On playing the originals, even. Like, controls-wise and camera-wise. Those games are fine. There are plenty of other good 3D games as well. Fucking Mega Man Legends is a good-ass 3D game to play. Like, the camera controls are maybe a little rough, and the movement is, like, a little bit rough, but you get used to it pretty quickly, honestly. Yeah, I think shooters definitely had the advantage in 3D space early on because of Doom being so cloned. No, the Crash games are not good 3D games. I'm sorry. Hold on. Crash Bandicoot is very cool and interesting. They're not good. I will not stand for this internet history revisionism. Those games are not good. They do exist though. Also, we're getting all the Vlad relics apparently. Sure. GoldenEye? GoldenEye is bad. Sorry. Yes, GoldenEye is a bad first-person shooter, but first-person shooters did have a huge head start. That doesn't mean that all first-person shooters were good. Bad streamer take? No, the Crash Bandicoot games are not good 3D platformers. I'm sorry. They're not very good. There were definitely a lot more competent and fun 3D platformers that existed at the time. Crash 2 and 3 are good. They are better than Crash 1. But they are a lot better. Okay, so Crash 1 is like radioactive waste. And Crash 2 and 3 are more just like, I don't know. Like botulism. Different danger levels, for sure. But one is much worse than the other. I will not stand for this GoldenEye slander. When was the last time you played GoldenEye? Right now. Tell me right now, when was the last time you played GoldenEye? And how did you play it? 4 years ago. We got Silver Ring, and then we're good? Yeah, we're good. On N64. Okay. So you're telling me that the dog shit controls on the N64 were good? And that has nothing to do with your nostalgia for the game. You're going to say it was a fun experience to use the N64 controller to control a game in first person in the year 2025. You got to understand I'm an elder millennial. Then you misunderstand the prompt here. I'm saying it's a bad game, but it is fun with nostalgia goggles on for sure. Yes, you have the nostalgia goggles on. That's what I'm saying. That doesn't mean it's a good game. I played plenty of dog shit growing up that I will not defend. Crash Bandicoot is one of them. I loved Crash Bandicoot as a kid. I played the fuck out of that game. But I've also come to my senses that it's not a very good 3D platformer. I played fucking Land Before Time. The Land Before Time. What was it called? Fuck. It's like a 3D platformer. And it's one of the worst games ever made. Genuinely. Genuine dog shit terrible game. Oops. But I'm not going to lie and say that it was good because I have nostalgia for it. Why am I bad at this? Fucking Elixir, I guess? It's okay to like bad video games. I have this take very often. It's okay to like bad video games. I like bad video games all the time. But there's a bit of a responsibility to not have history revisionism based off of your nostalgia, right? You can roast me in the comments, that's fine. Oops, wrong shortcut. Again, I'm also someone who loves Symphony of the Night as a video game, but I'm very, very, very aware of its flaws. I still think this is a very, very good game. But when people tell me that they actually didn't like it or they bounced off of it, I understand why. The game is not perfect. Shocker. But again, at the end of the day, I'm just happy that we can argue about video game opinions, because at the end of the day, it's not that big of a deal, right? If I don't think that GoldenEye is as good as fucking, I don't know, like Quake or something like that, that's fine. It's fine. And if you think my opinion's wrong, that's cool. That's not a hot take. Quake got that shit right. That's what I'm saying! Didn't Quake come out like 4 years before GoldenEye? Anyways, like I said, they obviously had to make a first-person shooter for the N64, which is technically very difficult to do. I'm not going to claim that it's like super easy or whatever, but the technical limitations limited the fun factor of the game. My favorite series is Dead Island / Dying Light, and those games are arguably garbage. It's okay to like trash. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with liking trash. It's comfort food sometimes. You know? I've had people unironically defend fucking like Castlevania 64 in my chat many times. I have to just tell them, like, it's your comfort trash and that's okay. I have comfort trash too. My ass plays more fucking PlayStation 1 games that sold like 100 copies than anybody else. It happens. It's okay to have comfort trash. I'm trying to think if there's any games that I still play that are pretty trash from my childhood. Genuinely. There's plenty of games that definitely didn't age well. But I'm trying to think if there's any that I've played recently that I would argue is like trash from my childhood. We're just going second castle now. I already talked about Crash, and my opinions on Crash are very harsh because I feel like the game, compared to the praise that it gets from like nostalgia reasons, it's not. I just don't think the games are as good as the nostalgia glasses tells people, but they're still fine games. Like, they are still above average, especially at the time. They are worth it. Yeah, they're worth it. Like, if you played Crash growing up, you didn't have a bad time because it was Crash, you know? What the hell? Die? I think the difference is not aging well does not equal bad. No, I think it does. Because if something hasn't aged well, it is now bad. You can't look at it like a fucking block of cheese that you left out for 4 years and be like, no, it's not bad. It just didn't age well. No, that shit is horrendous. If you ingest it, you will get sick. It got bad. Now, if we go back in time and play the games under the current context or whatever, yeah, they're probably fine. But we don't have a time machine, motherfucker. I'm sorry, we can't go back. We can't go back. So a game could be good, then bad? Yes! Yes, opinions change over time, motherfucker. Who would have thought? We don't live in a static universe that is unchanging. We figured that shit out like Newtonian physics figured that shit out or whatever. GoldenEye was good. It's okay to be wrong. You're allowed to be wrong. I'm not going to be mad at you for being wrong. But it's not good. I'm sorry. Anyways, I'm supposed to go left side. I messed up. We lost like 10 seconds because I was ranting again. Either way. Like I said, it's just video game opinions. It's not that deep. I'm glad that we can yell and rant about video game stuff and nothing else. Smiley face. You paid me to fucking shit on GoldenEye? I'm not... This is not a paid opinion. I've played the game. It's ass. It controls like shit. The graphics are not very good. The only reason it stands up today is because of nostalgia. And it's nostalgia because people owned N64s. The only reason the game sold is because it was on the N64. If that shit was on the PlayStation, it would have sold like 10 copies. Because there was 100 better PlayStation games to play at the time. Including other first-person shooters. Including Doom. You could just play Doom on your fucking PlayStation, bro. People forget that the N64, the people who owned N64s were unfortunately trapped on a you had 3 choices of games to play because the console shipped with like what 200 total games by the end of its lifespan. There's a Doom port on the N64 as well. Yeah, we don't talk about that. That's Doom 64. We don't talk about Doom 64. Come on now. The N64 install base was Stockholm Syndrome into believing that there was, like, good games on the N64, when in reality, they were mostly mid. They were mostly mid, including that one, including fucking GoldenEye. Even at the time, it wasn't that good. It was the best you can get on the N64, but it was definitely not, like, the best first-person experience. At the time, it was probably the best split-screen first-person like deathmatch experience that you can get on a console, but even then, like, Quake already existed on PCs and shit like that, so it was the first FPS on a console that didn't feel bad. I mean, it did feel bad, but it didn't feel as bad. You have to use a D-pad to look around. I'm sorry. No, you don't understand. You can plug in 2 controllers and use the dual analog setup. Also, yeah, Medal of Honor existed on PlayStation. I don't know which one came out first, but... People are just nostalgic for playing split-screen multiplayer with Odd Job, fucking giving each other odd jobs or whatever. It's fine. We're allowed to have nostalgia for bad games. It's okay. But I'm just sorry. It's it's one of the most important bad video games. There's plenty of good video games that are important. There are plenty of bad video games that are important. GoldenEye is one of the most important bad video games. Mostly because of the split-screen multiplayer thing. But it's okay. I grew up during that era. Like, I was the target demographic for fucking odd job split screen bullshit. And you know what? As soon as the fucking Xbox came out, ain't nobody pulling out N64 anymore. It was outdated within like 2 years. Halo 1 comes out and it's fucking over, man. Stop checking relics, my bad. That was the first time we broke, though. Like, to have such a quote-unquote flagship game become obsoleted within, like, what, 2 or 3 years? I'm sorry. you just gotta hold that. What's my opinion on tank controls pre-twin stick? Within the modern context, I understand why people don't like them. But they're fine. They're probably like... There's a lot of bad tank control games out there, mind you. But there are games that can do tank controls well. It's a control scheme that can still work to this day if people wanted to invest the time into making it work, but... Also, wow, we could finish the game right now, right, guys? We have all the Vlad relics. Yeah, there are certain games where it adds to the factor. Like Resident Evil did a good job of using it to their advantage. Because they could have made a game with just free movement or whatever. But the game would be a lot different and probably worse because of it. At least at the time. Until, you know, we got the Resident Evil remakes. Bad tank control games, Croc. True. Tank controls doesn't make a lot of sense for 3D platformers, even though they've done it a lot. There was a lot of tank control 3D platformers out there, unfortunately. But yeah. It's not very good. But for like shooters or, you know, survivor horror. Why am I so bad at speaking today? Survival horror. Tank controls aren't that bad. Or even for like adventure games or something like that. It's like not the end of the world. What was it? Jade Cocoon did tank controls and it was fine. You know? Again, it's one of those things where it's like, damn, I forget how tank controls work. And then you play with tank controls for like, I don't know, 20 minutes and then you're used to it. And you're like, okay, this is fine. Do I have a better weapon for this? I don't think so, right? Yep. Dino Cry. Like, there's a plenty of good examples. GoldenEye is just tank controls. Tank controls in a first-person setting. Notice how I didn't mention a different first-person game. There's other reasons why GoldenEye isn't good, by the way. It's not just the controls. I mean, it's one of the worst performance, like frame rate performance in any video game ever. It's bad. There's a reason why speedrunners don't look at the game when they play. Their ass is staring at the floor 99% of the time. Oh, gotta stare down to reduce lag, smiley face. You know your game is good when you're not allowed to look at the game if you're speedrunning it. I already know I'm on the perfect line. That is the one good thing about GoldenEye, is it gave us that beautiful, beautiful clip. And yes, bad game performance at the time wasn't as bad, but again, it's aged like shit. I'd argue at the time it still wasn't that great, but it had the one benefit of being split-screen multiplayer with your friends, which was immediately outclassed by Halo within the next, like, 2 or 3 years. Right? So it had a 2 to 3 year window of being, quote-unquote, like the best couch multiplayer deathmatch game that you could have on a console. That's it. That's the entire legacy of the fucking game, bro. GoldenEye is ass outside of that. Unless you care about the speedrunning scene of it, I guess. And again, the speedrunning scene has a lot more misses than it has hits. Don't ask what the GoldenEye community was doing in their fucking private servers, all right? Don't ask what kind of communication they were up to. Yeah, literally the best thing to come out of the GoldenEye community was Streets 112. What was the GoldenEye community doing in the private servers? Let's just say they would actually be very they would fit in very well on Elon Musk's X.com platform. They appreciate when Elon Musk threw his heart out to the audience. They were really into it. That's why it's legendary. It's just not. FPS games were good before. And also, it didn't feel good to play. That's just wrong. The game feels like ass to play. It was immediately outclassed by Halo. Halo was the first FPS that didn't feel like ass to play. I'm sorry. It's just revisionist. It was good for literally 2 months. 2 years, I'm sorry. Oh, sorry, Halo was 4 years later. My bad. I'm dying, by the way. So you had 4 years of being the best FPS on console, and then it gets absolutely blasted by Halo. It's just not. Also, Perfect Dark was better. That is true. It's just it's nostalgia, man. I'm sorry. If we zoom out, it's not very good. It really isn't. Sure, for the time, let's give it 4 years. It had 4 years of being the best console FPS, which I don't even necessarily agree with, but I'll give it to you. It being legendary for being the best console FPS for 4 years, and then immediately getting dumpstered so insanely hard that an entire console got sold, the entirety of the FPS genre was changed forever? With the release of Halo 1? It was the first on console? Sure, man. And the first fucking platformer was... Whatever, it's fine. It being the first doesn't mean it's good. That's the thing. That's my whole point. It's saying the game is bad. It's because it's bad. Just because it's the first doesn't mean it's good. We're conflating different concepts here. Is it an important game? Yes. I even started this conversation like 20 minutes ago saying it's the most important bad video game for the FPS genre. Sure. Seconded only by like Call of Duty 4 or something like that. That's not true. Call of Duty 4 is a good video game. Barely. It's important. It's a very important video game in the history of video games. That does not mean it's good. Bubsy 3D is an important video game in the history of video games. Fucking, what's another, like, trash video game that's really important? Mario 64. Pong? Nah, Pong is... It's hard to classify that as a bad game. It's just a incomplete game. Sonic 1? Yeah, Sonic might be one of the more important bad video games out there. And that's kind of controversial. Some people actually like Sonic 1. I think those people are insane, but those people exist. Either way, again, you're allowed to like GoldenEye. You're allowed to think that GoldenEye is still good to this day. I will argue that you're mostly thinking about the game through nostalgia glasses at this point. It's aged worse than milk on the sun. And you could argue it was the first, like, interesting or important FPS, and it had 4 years of being the first. That's fine. Yeah, E.T. for the Atari is also an important bad video game, true. Look, GoldenEye is influential. That's undeniable. But it's influential because of how well the formula changed after GoldenEye. You could boot up GoldenEye right here, right now, with a bunch of friends online with seamless co-op play or whatever. Is there a reason why you're not doing that? Why aren't you in a lobby right now, brother? When was the last time you booted up the GoldenEye lobby with the boys? And how quickly did you say, okay, this was fun and all? Wow, that was a trip down memory lane. Anyways. And that's okay. You're allowed to be nostalgic for things that were bad. I'm nostalgic for all sorts of bad video games, man. I played fucking No One Can Stop Mr. Domino growing up. And that game's not even that bad. It does what it aims to do. Even though it's a little bullshit of a video game. But it does what it wants to do. I'd rather play with my irritating stick. Okay. Well, I'm glad we got to spend 99% of this playthrough ranting about GoldenEye. I've definitely lost like 10 subscribers by the end of this, and they were all like dedicated GoldenEye purists or whatever. Shenmue, most influential game of all time. Shenmue is probably the most influential bad video game of all time. That is correct. Shenmue is rough. But it is very influential. That's a great... That'd be a fun video essay, most influential bad video games of all time. Wait, you don't like forklifts?
Trouble the soul of my mother no more. How?
Yeah, Forbidden Memories is another bad video game that I very much like. That game is ass, bro. Have you played Forbidden Memories? It's literally war. Is your monster bigger than my monster? I lose. But it's nostalgic because it's fucking the first Yu-Gi-Oh video game to like hit consoles. Right?
Gains the world and loses his own soul.
Don't worry, memorize the 13-step Guardian stars and you'll have a 500-point boost over your opponent. Look, we're allowed to be nostalgic for bad video games. People still are nostalgic for bad video games to this day, but at least people understand that the games have flaws, right? And we're not saying that they were perfect or great or whatever. And games do age over time. They age like milk. It happens. SotN is a quote-unquote better aged Metroidvania than a lot of others, but it still is aged. Like, there's plenty of moments in SotN that are like, okay, this is rough. This is clearly an indication of the fact that the game was coming out on console, the fact that the game was coming out pre-internet or like early internet, such that like you could sell strategy guides and like secrets and shit like that. It was heavily rushed by the developers or the publishers, I should say. It wasn't given the amount of resources that it probably could have had, and they had to cut content from it because of it. Like there's plenty of things that this game is not perfect because of, and it hasn't aged perfectly because of it, but there's a lot of stuff that's still good inside of it. You know? Things like Hollow Knight will never age. You are smoking crack cocaine. Hollow Knight is already aged. I hate to break it to you, that game's old, and there's a lot of things that stick out as poorly aged in that game. The Geo system is just straight up not that interesting or fun to deal with. Who wants to grind Geo to open a fucking bench? Nobody. It's not a good mechanic. Sorry, it's not very good. The best part about playing Hollow Knight is just beating the fucking bosses into the dirt. All the annoying ass runbacks, it's leftover garbage from them copying a lot of the ideas from Dark Souls, but Dark Souls ended up amending those ideas later on because they also found that they weren't that good, including the boss runbacks and like fucking dumb shit like that.
You had to fight your own
Anyways.
Fear not.
GG's. If you enjoyed this rant/video gameplay, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Join the live stream, twitch.tv/DragonBlitz. You can join the chat and tell me that I'm stupid and wrong and ugly for thinking that Hollow Knight is already aged or whatever, or that GoldenEye isn't the greatest video game of all time because you were in college when it dropped and you were smoking weed with your friends every day after school. I get it. Anyways, I'll see you in the next one, YouTube. Have a good one. Bye.